Home media.
Jail sucks.
This place isn't vacay. Let's get you out of here. Get bailed out quick with Big Fish bail bonds. Because jail sucks. Big or small, we release them all. 316-262-4100 or bailmeoutquick.com.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Kansas Missing and Unsolved podcast. I'm your host, Ricky Chabruggi, and joining me over there in Arizona is Derek. How's it going, Derek?
Pretty good, man. Got some coffee going. So today at work, I got bit by a dog, and then I hit my head on a tree. So
Wow.
Today is my Monday, so pretty par for the course. But
Wow.
I just took some ibuprofen. Maybe I'll survive. Who knows? Might not survive.
I've just been running my legs off today. I was telling you earlier before the show, I just nonstop running all day. I'm going to have to go back to work so I can relax.
So you had laundry and stuff for your daughter and stuff all day?
Yeah, I helped her clean her mouse's cages out and, did stuff around the house I needed to get done and made a trip to the laundromat because the property owner hasn't got our machines here fixed yet. So went to the laundromat and spent about 3 hours there and just never ends.
How long have your machines been out? Because I know that you do your laundry on your days off, but I never knew if you were going to a place or.
Yeah, they've been down for a year or two, probably.
Sheesh.
Somebody broke into him, ripped out the coin box, and he hasn't bothered to get it put back in yet. Every time I ask him, it's like waiting for parts. And I was like, okay.
I follow Double T's Salina page, and it seems like a pretty active little town, man. Lots of stuff going on.
Yeah. Some days are better than others.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about so the deck that Ricky and Kansas Missing and Unsolved has been a part of.
Yeah.
It's Ernie Ortiz is in the deck, but basically they're going to. How often is it weekly that they're going to? I'll take this down.
Cold case deck there. Yeah. They're featuring a card a week. Is what they're doing. They're sending it out and then like a media blitz, or I don't know if it's a media blitz or if it's just to the correctional facilities or how they're doing it exactly. I'm not for sure, but they're going to attach the flyer with the information that goes out to the correctional facilities. So our flyers are going to be hitting all over the state.
Nice. So everywhere there's people incarcerated, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Everywhere, the county jails, the correctional facilities, everywhere.
And the aim is essentially people that are locked up typically play cards or other kinds of games because you don't have a lot to do when you're locked up. But they're hoping that people that are sitting in jail that have nothing but time might see somebody on the back of one of these cards and say, hey, I know something, and potentially make a deal and help themselves and help law enforcement. Like, is that kind of why they're put them in situations where there's people that are locked up, like they think that they might know something?
Yeah, I think that's the basic idea is they're taking all the regular playing cards out, replacing them with these cards and hoping that it'll, one of the inmates or multiple inmates will see him and know something and, talk about what they know. And if they do know.
It's a really cool idea. There's we got Christopher Unruh here, Roxanne Fisher, Trisha Arnold on YouTube, Melissa Gurney from Lincoln.
Cool.
And we have Esther Unruh. So basically,
I'm trying to figure out Israel De Herrera's comment. I'm hard watching this.
I don't know. Who knows?
What that means.
But basically, we have a case that Ricky's going to bring on the show every week, and this week is Ernie. Did you want to? We should go ahead and read his, because his flyer's up there, but it's really small for people to read.
Yeah.
We should definitely go over his flyer, and this is one that. It hits close to home for me. Ernie owned a restaurant in Garden City when I lived there. I left in 2018, and I believe he was shot outside of the restaurant he owns. But I would probably go to Ernie. I saw Ernie once a week for about 5 or 6 years because my wife loved his restaurant, and we would go there probably once a week. And Ernie always was at like right when you walked in at the cash register. So yeah, Ricky's going to tell you about Ernie Ortiz. And this is the second week. I think there was a card last week. We
I forgot to put the one in for last week, but Ernie Ortiz, Garden City Police responded just before 11 p.m. Thursday, September 12th, 2019. So yesterday, 3 years ago, to report of a person down at El Conquistador restaurant at 1601 Buffalo Jones Avenue in Garden City, Kansas. When officers arrived, they found the owner, 69-year-old Ernest Ortiz, lying on the east parking lot entrance. He'd suffered multiple gunshot wounds. He later died at a local hospital. Robbery is believed to be the possible motive, and no arrests have been made up to this point. If you have any information regarding Ernie's death, please call the Garden City, Kansas Police Department at 620-276-1300. If you would like to remain anonymous, you can call Crime Stoppers at 620-275-7807 or text GC TIP and your tip to tip 411. Or you can call KBI at 1-800-572-7463, which is their 800 KS crime number, and leave your tip with them as well, and see if we can generate some information and get some tips in there on who may have done this to Ernie.
Right. Yeah, I know because he's a pretty beloved, person in the community. A lot of people liked him. A lot of people went to his restaurant, and this has been quite some time now since this happened, and it just kind of freaks you out, like he was just outside of his business and someone came up and did this, and they're still at large. There we go. He says Ernie was a great guy, played in my wedding, praying justice will be served for him and his family.
Yeah. Somebody under the name Salty Monkey.
Nice.
Salty Monkey. Okay.
Salty Monkey. I like it. Well, let's go ahead and get into some cases. Let's talk about Ronald Howie. This looks like Argentine, Kansas, another town I've never heard of.
I have not either, to be real honest. But he's missing from Argentine, Kansas since October 30th of 2021. He was 36 when he went missing. He'd now be 37. He's 5'7", weighs between 150 and 155 pounds, has brown hair and brown eyes. He left a family member's home in Argentina around midnight walking and hasn't been seen since. He did not have a cell phone or a vehicle. Ron would walk often around Argentina to a friend's house if he didn't have a ride. Family said it's not like Ron to not contact family after this length of time. Again, he was 36 when he went missing. He would now be 37. He's 5'7" tall, weighs between 150 and 155 pounds. He has brown hair and brown eyes. Excuse me. If you have any information regarding Ronald's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department at 913-573-8680. or 913-596-3000, or KBI at 785-296-4017, and see if we can help get Ronald located and back home to his family.
That kind of happens often. You'll read these flyers and the story starts out with somebody took off walking, at night. And it's just, if you're trying to piece together where he might be, it's just it sounds like he kind of walked around often, so
yeah.
I don't know, man. That's really sad. I hope that, and we're going on close to a year ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's got to be really tough for the family.
Yeah, definitely.
Anybody in the Argentine or surrounding areas, definitely contact the authorities if you have any information of where Ronald might be.
Yeah, please call it in.
Now, we have Skyler Linville on here, and you actually have quite a bit to go over on this case. So go ahead and you can read a flyer and then just sort of walk me through when you want me to change the slides.
Okay. Yeah, this one just really kind of bothers me. I was watching a podcast, Arctic Monkeys podcast regarding her case, and I'm looking for her flyer here so I can cover it. Nope, that's not it.
Did you pull it?
But she's just missing from Maynardsville, Tennessee, and missing since July 15, 2022. She's 16 years old. She's approximately 5'3", weighs 120 pounds, has light brown or blonde hair and brown eyes. She left sometime between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. that morning. She left a note for her parents, and if you want to put that note on the screen, you can. It said, as you can tell, I'm not happy being here anymore, so I've left. I'm still in Maynardville, and I'll come home when I'm ready. But right now, I've made some bad decisions that I regret, and I don't think I could say what stupid things, but please don't look for me, because either way, I'm not coming back till I'm ready. So please give me time. God will work on me. Just give me 2 days to myself to think, please. Then I'll be back. Love you all. Bye, Skyler, to mom and dad. The note there, you can see there was some typos. I corrected the typos for the flyer, but if you look at that note on screen, you can see there is some typos and things. But like I said, she left July 15th. It's now September 13th, and she's still not back yet. And from what I picked up from the podcast, apparently mom confiscated her phone because she was caught sending some inappropriate photos, and not sure to who or anything like that. But she did not confiscate the laptop. So when Skyler went missing, she did take the laptop. So I'm not sure if whoever was getting her to send the inappropriate pictures may have coerced her or talked her into it, or what the situation is. No idea. But the thing that really steamed me about this case even more than, all of that, was the fact that her mom called 911, not 1 day, not 2 days, not 3 days, but 4 days in a row to get a missing persons report filed. And there's the call log. You can see that she called the 16th, the 18th, and the 20th. And on the 4th day, they finally come out to do a missing persons report. It took them 4 days. And 4 days, like, Arctic Monkey was saying on his podcast, he said 4 days she could be out of Tennessee and across the border by now. I mean, you just don't know. So, I mean, we really need to get this thing shared far and wide and all over the place. So we can try to get her found. Again, she's 16. She's approximately 5'3", weighs 120 pounds, has light brown or blonde hair that she may have dyed red or black, and brown eyes, and she may have been wearing a black or a red hoodie. And if you have any information regarding Skyler's disappearance, her whereabouts, please call the Union County, Tennessee Sheriff's Office or Detective Eddie Simpson at 865-992-4062, or the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation at 1-800-824-3463, and see if we can't get her located and back home, because, like Renata said, she was going to come back in 2 days, but here it is almost 2 months, and she's still not home yet. So let's see if we can't help get this thing circulated and moving around, get her found and back home.
On the podcast you listened to, have the parents said that looks like her handwriting at all? Because to me, the love you all bye seems a little more clean than the rest of it. But I guess when you really look at it, I guess my question is, have they said if that's for sure her handwriting?
I haven't seen or heard anything on that for sure, but I'm sure it is. I mean, if it wasn't, I'm sure they would know. But I mean, just the idea that, she said that she had made some bad decisions, and she doesn't think she could say what stupid things they were. But I mean, that in itself is scary. I mean,
yeah.
So, hopefully she's okay. She's not being harmed, but hopefully we can just help get her found and get her back home. Because, I mean, it's just frustrating, especially knowing it took law enforcement 4 days to actually get out there and file a report. I mean, I think they were thinking, she just ran away. And, that may have worked in the 70s and may have worked in the 80s, but in 2022, that doesn't work anymore. I mean, if you really stop and think about it, like I said, I've got the utmost respect for law enforcement. I really do. But if you really think about it, our kids are more accessible than any other time in our history, because you look at cell phones, you look at tablets, computers, PlayStation 5s, Xboxes, and these predators and traffickers use all of these tools to get to our kids. Our kids are so completely accessible anymore. It's ridiculous. So, I mean, be snooping around your kids, find out what they're doing, find out who they're talking to, check, look over their shoulder once in a while. My daughter gets mad at me and upset with me because she says, "Oh, Dad, you're too overprotective." Well, because of society has made it to where we have to be overprotective if we're going to keep our kids safe and out of trouble and out of these predators' hands. It's just ridiculous. I was watching my favorite sheriff in the whole country, Grady Judd. He did another one of his sex trafficking prostitution stings here just not too awful long ago, about 2 weeks ago. They made 160 arrests in 7 days in this thing. 160 arrests in 7 days. He did two press conferences. He did one ahead of the big press conference because one of the ones in that sting that they arrested was a deputy police chief from a town in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Needless to say, he's resigned from that department, but I mean, yeah. So,
well, I mean, when you see stuff like this, you can't even blame law enforcement as a whole. It's probably down to one person who works for law enforcement that made that decision not to, it's not like it's not like the president was like, we're not gonna, but again, it's really bad that happened, because you're right. Like that's something in the 70s. You could have like a 4-year-old missing. You go to the police station frantic, like, my kid's missing. Like, come back in a few days if she's still missing. It's like, what? And you're right. In 2022, that really shouldn't happen. It should be. And for the most part, do you feel like it is? Like since that statute was made, do you feel like, do you have other families telling you that they had trouble getting the police to make a missing person, like, take a case? Or
I'm not sure on that one. I know it gets frustrating because, we had that case here a few weeks ago in Dallas where I think she was 15, was at a Dallas Mavericks game with her dad, and she excused herself to go to the restroom and disappeared. And police were, she probably just ran off, and hesitated to do the report. And they went back on security footage from the arena and found that a guy had approached her. She left with this guy, and she was only found later. She was found in Oklahoma City. I can't remember, almost a week later, I think it was, somewhere around there. She was only found because nude pictures of her were surfacing on human trafficking websites on the dark web. And that's how they tracked her to Oklahoma City.
Jeez.
Yeah. And so her parents obviously were livid because they felt like Dallas PD didn't take it serious enough from the onset. They were livid with the hotel in Oklahoma City where she was at because the staff there apparently let them check in under assumed names without checking ID. So they were upset with the hotel for that. And I know they arrested 5 people in connection with this girl's trafficking to Oklahoma City. So
Double T said, her note said, give me 2 days, and it's been nearly 2 months.
Yeah. Exactly.
Hey,
but like I say, Just a Runaway may have worked in the 70s or 80s, but with our kids being so completely accessible now through all these different devices, like I said, cell phone, tablets, computers, PS5, Xbox. I mean, we got to really crack down, and whether we're coming across as overprotective or not, our kids have got to understand we're doing it for their own good to keep them out of these predators' hands. I mean, that's all there is to it.
We got Melanie Cushenberry in Osawatomie, Kansas, and Gene Wheeler from Topeka. You might want to write this down. Salty Monkey wants us to cover Rachel Pratt, and we can do that next week for sure.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've covered Rachel anyway. And Wade here is from Las Vegas. See, Wade says, isn't it one of the issues with missing teens they have to be gone for 48 hours before the police do anything? It used to be. Ricky, go ahead and educate.
Used to be, but as of 2014 here in Kansas, and I think most of the country now, definitely Kansas for sure. Now, there's a statute on missing persons that states that when any law enforcement in Kansas is notified of a missing person, they have to take and file a report immediately and have it in the missing person section of NCIC and on KBI within 2 hours taking the report. And I think in most places around the country now it's that way. It has to be, you can do it immediately. I think there's still some that hang on to the 48 hours or 72 hours, but like I said, Kansas isn't one of them.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I'm glad. That's definitely a step in the right direction, that you can get, your kid goes missing, you can get them on, on that website, in 2 hours. And that's really a big, because, I said, the 70s, man, some people would go 4 or 5 days before they would even get.
Yeah. Well, like I say, I have the utmost respect for law enforcement. I do, I always have, I always will. Just as with most things, there's always room for improvement,
Yeah.
So I just, like I said, with our kids being so successful, we got to crack down. We just got to.
Yeah, I think everybody's trying as hard as they can, and sometimes mistakes happen. Tell us about Tammy Fields. This looks like a Kansas City, Missouri case from '87.
Yeah, missing from Kansas City, Missouri since January 12th of 1987. She was 21 when she went missing. She's now 56. She's 5'4", weighs 125 pounds. She has brown hair and green eyes. Tammy resided in an apartment in the 100 block of North Topping Street in Kansas City, Missouri in 1987. She departed from her residence on foot to run an errand at approximately 1:40 p.m. on January 12, 1987. Tammy told her roommate that she planned to return home by 4 p.m. Tammy had a date scheduled for a wrestling match during the evening hours. She never arrived at her apartment, and she's not been heard from again. She had planned to travel to Pensacola, Florida on January 13th, the day following her disappearance. Tammy never arrived as expected. Tammy may have traveled to Pine Bluff or Benton areas of Arkansas. Authorities suspect foul play was involved in Tammy's case, which remains unsolved. If you have any information regarding Tammy's disappearance or even know her whereabouts, please call the Kansas City Police Department at 816-234-5220 or Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178, or their toll-free number is 866-362-6422, and see if we can't get her located and see if she's okay and get her back to her family. That's been a long time.
A really long time. 87. Oh my gosh. And that's Missouri too. See, that's like a whole nother. I don't even know. You know much about Missouri law since you do the Missouri page?
I know they're pretty much in the same boat as far as have to take the report immediately. We got confirmation on that from law enforcement actually.
Nice, yeah.
So yeah.
Well, 87 was a long time ago, but if anybody. I'm sure people from back then think about Tammy, and maybe some people even know some stuff that they're afraid to talk about. But at the end of the day, it's been a long time. It's time to get some closure to this and find out what's going on.
Yeah. Hopefully, we can get some chips generated to find out where she's at and what's going on. Because that's been a long time.
Yeah.
You figure January 12th, 1987, I was 19, and I'm 55 now. So can I use an idea how long ago it was?
I was 4, brother. I was 4. Let's talk about Tracy Ramsey, another Kansas City, Missouri case.
Yeah, and I do have a little bit more information to add to hers than what's on the flyer. So I'll cover the flyer first, and then I'll switch over and cover a little bit more on hers. She's missing from Kansas City, Missouri since October 30th, 1984. She was 20 when she went missing. She would now be 57. She was 5'7", weighs 120 pounds, has red hair and blue eyes. She visited her parents' residence in the vicinity of Elmwood Avenue and the 4600 block of East 9th Street in Kansas City, Missouri on October 30th, 1984. 3 days after her 20th birthday, she left to speak to a neighbor and never returned. Her friends saw her walking down Independence Avenue at 3 p.m. and gave her a ride to the grocery store 4 blocks from her home. She may have been seen at 6 p.m. that day walking south on Van Brunt Boulevard from Independence Avenue in the direction of her parents' home, but Tracy never arrived there, and the sighting has not been confirmed. She's never been heard from again. At the time of her disappearance, she lived in the 100 block of North Wheeling Avenue, about a mile and a half from her parents' home. She had no car and would walk to visit her parents almost every day. She left behind a husband and 2 young sons, and her family says it was uncharacteristic of her to leave without warning. Tracy may use her maiden name Snow, and some agencies refer to her by that name. Her nickname is Big Red. Tracy's hair was shoulder length at the time of her disappearance. She had previously broken her left arm. The injury had healed by the time she disappeared, but may show up in an x-ray, and all of her teeth were missing. Again, at the time of her disappearance, she was 20 years old. She would now be 57. She's 5'7" tall and weighs 120 pounds. She has red hair and blue eyes. She was last known to be wearing a blue and white striped knit shirt, an ankle-length brown leather coat, blue jeans, blue sneakers, a gold wedding band, and another ring. She was also carrying a red cigarette case. And Ramsey was one of a group of females between 13 and 31 from northeast Kansas City who either disappeared or were found murdered over a 12-year period Some, but not all of them, were known prostitutes. Their bodies were found dumped in local rivers, often mutilated. Most had been beaten to death. Ramsey and one other woman in the group, Tammy Wilkinson, remained missing. I'll have to get a flyer going for her so we can cover her at a later date.
Right.
In 1994, authorities publicly named Gregory W. Brayden as the primary suspect in 7 of the cases. He had been a suspect since as early as 1982. Police searched his home and found women's clothing in various sizes, 4 teeth, 19 knives, and muddy underwear. Brayden knew some of the victims had dated one of them. He reportedly knew things about some of the homicides that had not been publicly disclosed. He told police he'd seen Ramsey in other areas of Kansas City after her disappearance and that her body would never be found. In 1996, he was charged with the murder of one of the women, but the case was dismissed for lack of evidence after a key witness, a jailhouse informant, refused to testify. He did serve 10 years in prison for writing bad checks, but was never convicted of any violent crimes, although violence was cited in one of his 3 divorces. In 2014, Brayden was found dead of apparent natural causes in the Butler, Missouri hotel where he lived. It's not clear whether Wilkinson and Ramsey's disappearances are connected to him or each other, and the case does remain unsolved. And if you do have any information on her case, please call the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department at 816-234-5100 or the Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178. or toll free at 866-362-6422 and see if we can't help get her located and get Tracy back to her family.
I was wondering that when you were just reading the first part before you went into the additional information.
Yeah.
Because I know Tammy Fields has nothing to do with this, but like it was Kansas City, Missouri, missing person. And that was a few years after this, and I was just like, I wonder if there's like somebody that was like, because me and Norm were talking on the other day. There's supposed to be like something, I don't know what it is. There's supposed to be like 50 current serial killers in America right now.
That's what they say.
Something like that. So you just never know. Like, was somebody out there doing something, and then you read the rest of the information, and it sounds like they had their eyes on somebody who. But yeah, it sounds like they didn't get convicted of anything violent though.
I've heard as anywhere from 50 to 100 active serial killers across the country at any one time is what I've heard in the past, which is just crazy.
That is scary.
Yeah.
And I live in the 6th biggest city in America. I'm sure it's like a lot of people here, man. A lot of odds, man. You never know. Yeah. But I hope that somebody out there knows something about Tracy. And again, sounds like she left behind a lot of people that cared about her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a long time ago, and they're all older now and stuff. So like they need to, again, they just need some peace with this. They need to know what happened, know where Tracy's at, so they can move on.
Right. Definitely. It's just insane, Too much craziness going on in this world.
Wade says, how many parents have some sort of GPS in their kid's backpack? I think that
may not be
he
a
kind of
bad
says
idea.
it here. Do you know any tracking apps? I think so. Like Snapchat tracks your location.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a lot of things. Pretty much every app you download these days says, is it okay if we track your location?
Well, most phones are equipped with this Find My Phone feature that tracks your phone too.
Right. But then again, you got to realize, like, does it keep working if the phone's turned off or destroyed? It's like,
that's
so
true.
it's not a fail proof.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we got Lisa Cruz here from Liberal.
Hey, Lisa.
I think if a kid has a smartphone, you can probably track them unless they don't want to be tracked, or again, if they don't have the phone on them anymore. But it's not a bad idea. I mean,
and that's another thing too. He was bringing up apps to put on the phone to track. I mean, there are some apps out there that some of these teenagers are using that it says this is what this app is, but in reality, it allows them to conceal conversations is what it actually does. And some of them are like calculator apps, and I can't remember what the other ones are, but they say they do this, but in reality, they hide conversations.
Yeah. It's a true story. Well, I gave up on trying to be safe from Big Brother, man. Whenever I buy a new product or a new app, it says, hey, you cool with us? Whatever. I'm like, yep, just do whatever you got to do, man. I don't really break the law. So, I mean, what are they going to do? Like, arrest me for being boring? So, but yeah, I mean, I think that if your kid has a smartphone, there probably could be tracked pretty easily.
This is interesting. Roxanne's there's a tracking device for shoes and clothes. I did not know that.
I wonder if it's like affordable, like for.
Wow.
But then again, if you have a tracking device in a shoe, all you have to do is take that, get rid of that shoe, and then it's over. But I like the ideas,
Yeah.
For
sure.
Let's talk about Marion.
All right.
Right across the state line.
Yeah. She is missing from Kansas City, Kansas. So we're back in Kansas again. Since December 23rd, 2021. She was 17 when she was missing. She would now be 18. She's 4'10", weighs between 115 and 140 pounds. She has dark brown or black hair and brown eyes. It's believed she may be with an adult male. If you have any information regarding Marion's disappearance or of her whereabouts, please call the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department at 913-596-3000 or KBI at 785-296-4017. Or you could even call National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-843-5678 and see if we can't help get Marion located and back to where she needs to be. And there again, 17, maybe with an adult male. Just don't know. You're muted.
Yeah, my dogs are going crazy. I don't see how an adult male would hang out with a 17-year-old.
And Roxanne says those tracking devices for shoes and clothes are affordable.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think the Relaford boys might be getting some new shoes because you never know, man. You really never know.
Yeah, you just don't know. I was watching a video clip the other day of this. It was this family. I think they got them from shopping or something, and they were taking stuff in, and the daughter was just chilling in her front yard playing. This guy comes walking down the sidewalk, grabs her wrist. She pulls her wrist away, tries to grab again. She lets out this blood-curdling scream as she pulls away and runs into the house. And just, fortunately, her dad happened to be off work that day. He ran back out, jumped in the car, followed the guy, called the police. Followed him until the police got there, and they arrested the guy. He was like 33 years old, and his daughter was like, I want to say 6 or 7, something like that.
It happens.
Yeah.
When I was probably 6 or 7, I was young. I was so little. But I was big enough that my mom would let me run around at Walmart to the toy section while she shopped.
Yeah.
But I was a little kid, and I was walking around the toy section. I remember this lady came up, and I remember exactly what she looks like. Looking back, she was probably in her 40s. She was didn't look good. Like she looked like she might be disheveled. But she walked up to me and grabbed my wrist and just started walking towards the out exit of Walmart. And I was going with her for about 10 steps. And I was old enough to realize it. So I did the same thing to that girl. I just was like, I started screaming and sat down, and she took off running. Like somebody tried to take me, man. But you're right. I think I saw that video you're talking about where that guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You have no idea how sick people are out there. You got, and the thing is it can happen in a blink of an eye. You just turn your head for 1 second, and somebody can come snatch your kid. It's just so.
And what made it chilling was he didn't like run off or nothing. When after she screamed and ran in the house, he didn't like run off. He just like nonchalantly just strolled down the sidewalk. And I was just like, dude. Saw his mugshot, and he looked like he might have been under the influence of something, possibly. I don't know, but that's still crazy.
Yeah, it's not an excuse. Maybe it explains, but yeah, that is terrifying, especially if you have kids or you have like nieces and nephews. That is terrifying to know that there are people out there that'll do that. Let's talk about Quincy. Looks like fairly new case.
It is, but we've had him in the past.
Okay,
about a year ago, actually, because when I did this flyer, I noticed it was September of last year, the last flyer I made. So, but yeah, Quincy Goepper missing from Pittsburgh, Kansas, on September 8th of this year. He's 16. He's 5'10", 150 pounds, brown hair and brown eyes. It's believed he may still be in the local Pittsburgh area, or he may be in the Weir, Kansas area, or the Joplin, Missouri area. And he's 16. He's 5'10", weighs 150 pounds, has brown hair that he typically wears in a bun on top of his head and brown eyes. He currently has a significant injury on his index finger that will most likely be covered or wrapped and is in need of medical attention. So if you have any information regarding Quincy's disappearance or of his whereabouts, please call the Pittsburgh, Kansas Police Department at 620-231-1700 or 620-231-8411 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Quincy located and get him some medical attention on that finger. I'm not sure what the injury is. They just said significant injury, so it must have been pretty bad.
That sounds awful. Like if it's bad enough that they're saying he needs to, I mean, people bang their finger up every day. You don't go to the hospital, you know. Sounds like he's got a pretty serious injury going on.
I'm a professional at it. At work, I bumped my arm, my hand. I've got scratch marks all over my hands and stuff from work. I'm just a klutz.
Well, that's, you know, hopefully, and you're right. Like that, he doesn't, you know, that doesn't need to get infected. You know, that could just be. It could go from going to the hospital and getting like maybe some stitches or whatever's wrong with it. We don't know what's wrong with it, but otherwise, or if it gets infected, it could become a hospital stay, you know, and that's just, you don't want to do that. It looks like you're 16. We got a lot of school. We got school starting up. Got things to do. We got things to do. Tonight's featured case is Waynesville, Missouri case, Michelle Lynn Henry. And this is a 2004 case Ricky's going to tell you about.
Yeah, another one from Missouri. Michelle Lynn Henry is from Waynesville, Missouri since January 24th, 2004. She was 25 when she went missing. She would now be 44. She is 5'6" to 5'9", weighs between 145 and 160 pounds. She has brown hair and green eyes. She was last seen by her ex-husband in the afternoon of January 24th at a residence in the vicinity of 26,000 block of Highway 17 in Waynesville. She frequented the Columbia and Jefferson City areas of Missouri prior to her disappearance. Her ex-husband was initially unconcerned about her disappearance because he thought she might be in the hospital getting treatment for her depression. A few days before she was last seen, Henry told her sister she was going to visit a friend in Kansas City, Missouri. She said her own car was inoperable but she had planned to get a ride. Henry never made it to Kansas City. She left her purse and medication behind at home and has never been heard from again. She doesn't have a driver's license in any state, and her bank accounts and social security number have not been used since her disappearance. She has also never claimed her income tax refund. If you have any information regarding Michelle's disappearance or you know her whereabouts, please call the Pulaski County, Missouri Sheriff's Office at 573-774-4701 or Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178 or toll free at 866-362-6422. See if we can't get Michelle located and back to her family.
2004. Wow.
Yeah. It's been a little while. I agree with Rodney Cox. He said so much evil in the world nowadays. It's depressing. It's depressing and scary. And Diana says it is. Yeah, it is. Definitely.
Wow. Well, let's go ahead and this is Maria Pasquel, and so this is November will be a year for her. Did we ever cover her before?
We have.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Yeah. The original flyer, she was still 17. Now she's 18. But yeah, I'm missing from Wichita, Kansas since November 29, 2021. Again, she was 17 when she was missing. She's now 18. She's 4'11", 160 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. It's believed that Maria may either be in the Coffeyville, Kansas area or Georgia or Florida, or she may be trying to get to Guatemala. If you have any information regarding Maria's disappearance or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-660-9452 or 316-660-9456 or 316-263-6011 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't help get Maria located and back to where she needs to be. It's getting close to a year. So got to find her.
And she's 18, so like at this point, you know, because like Ricky said, there's the option of people contacting the police and saying, "Hey, there's a flyer featuring me. Mm-hmm. I'm safe. I'm fine, but I don't want anybody to know where I am." Like it's situations like that where you would even settle for something like that. You
for
know,
adults, like adults, yeah.
So you know, she's 18. It's like I would hope that at least that could happen. Like maybe she gets in contact just to know that she's okay. You know, nobody's saying she's 18. You know, but like just because you know, and this is assuming nobody's talked to her since November 29th, and it doesn't sound like anybody has.
Yeah. Hopefully somebody will I'm hoping somebody knows something about where she is and will turn that information in. Is what I'm hoping for. Is these ones that have been missing for a year and a half, 2 years, like that are 15, 16, 17. It's really concerning. You just don't know where they are, what may have ended up happening to them, or anything like that.
Yeah, that's terrible, man. Wichita, Kansas, man. We every week we have cases out of Wichita, and it's really just 'cause it's a high population area, man.
Yeah.
It's just any state where you have your high population, that's where you're gonna get the bulk of your bad issues,
Most cases, law enforcement likes to lay eyes on them to make sure they are physically safe and make sure that's who they are actually talking to on the phone. Most cases, some with adults, it's sometimes they settle for a phone call, but more times than not, they like to physically see them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's important to know because like you don't know if they're calling and you can't see them and they're like, I'm fine. You don't know if somebody is sitting there saying, tell them you're fine.
Yeah, or if it's even them.
Yeah. True story.
Just don't know.
Let's talk about Isabel.
Yeah. And I've actually done one prior for her about a year ago also. I noticed when I was making this one last night. Missing from Wichita, Kansas, September 7th of this year. She's 15. She's 5'4", 133 pounds. Her natural hair color is brown, but right now it's dyed half black, half blonde, and she has hazel eyes. If you have any information regarding Izzy's disappearance, you know her whereabouts, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-660-9452 or 316-660-9456 or 316-268-4111 or KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can get Izzy located and back to where she needs to be.
So I'm guessing that picture's pretty recent.
Yeah, they are pretty recent. First flyer I did for her, she was only 14. This time she's 15. So hopefully we can get her located and back to where she needs to be.
Yeah. And it's,
again,
like
15 years old. I mean, and it hasn't quite been a week, but even still.
Well, it's an important week. School's in session. I don't know. Maybe, some kids, go to school online or, but regardless, it's like, I can't. And I think it's when I tell like when we see these younger people with the flyers with younger people, and I harp on education, it's what's speaking to you is a guy that has to get up at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning and do manual labor all day. Like, take your education seriously.
Yeah.
Learn some stuff and do what you want to do with your life. And now's an important time to, be in school and doing what you need to do.
Yeah. That's for sure.
Let's talk about Jordan from Topeka.
Yeah, it's been a little bit since we've covered her, and she's still missing. So, from Topeka, Kansas, since May 27th this year, she's 16 years old, 5'5", 130 pounds, blonde hair and blue eyes. She was last seen in the Oakland area of Topeka. Again, she's 16, 5'4", 5'5", weighs 130 pounds, blonde hair and blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Jordan's disappearance or you know her whereabouts, please call the Topeka, Kansas Police Department at 785-368-9247 or 785-368-9551 or 785-368-9200 or KBI at 785-296-4017. And there again, it's been quite a few months and it's just scary not knowing, even though she's not my daughter. I mean, it's still scary not knowing where she's at and what may have happened to her or whatever. You just don't know. I mean, it's scary. Hope she's okay and safe and everything. It's my hope for all these missing folks.
Yeah. You just like I said, even like if they just to know they're safe. Yeah. Just to know they're alive, that would be a monumental thing, just to know that they're still with us. Let's talk about Kendra.
Sure. First, I want to address this comment. Chris Gideon is asking, may I share these cases? By all means, Chris, please do.
Yeah, just go to the Kansas Missing Unsolved Facebook page, and there's flyers for everything we're covering tonight.
Right. Yeah, and this one is Kendra Nicole Betello. She's been missing from Enid, Oklahoma since July 5th of 2022. She's 24. She's 5'8", 115 pounds, black hair and brown eyes. She was reportedly seen on July 20th after knocking on the door of a woman's house in Pawnee, Oklahoma, and asking for a glass of water. The woman reported her contact with Kendra on July 22nd after seeing an online post about Kendra being missing. Family states, however, that Kendra was last seen the evening of July 7th. Kendra is affiliated with the Muskogee tribe. She is known to travel to Bristow, Oklahoma. Again, she's 24. She's 5'8", weighs 115 pounds. She has short black hair, but she often wears wigs of various hair colors and dark brown eyes. She does have mental health issues and has a substance abuse disorder. If you have any information regarding Kendra's disappearance or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Enid, Oklahoma Police Department at 580-242-7000 or the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation tip line at 1-800-522-8017. Or you can email the OSBI at tips@osbi.ok.gov and see if we can't help get Kendra located and back home to where she needs to be. And if you see her actual flyer on our Kansas Missing and Unsolved page, I have quite a few pictures of Kendra with wigs of different colors on the flyer as well. So, yeah,
so has she been missing and found in the past?
Not that I'm aware of. This is the first I've ever heard of that. Heard of her going missing. I don't know for sure. I know she's got family that's desperately trying to find her and wanting to get her found and back home and everything. So,
well, just knowing that she has, some mental health issues, that's just really, it's especially for, her family and friends, it's go time. If she's mentally unwell right now and she's not around people that care about her, that's a very dangerous situation.
Yeah. Yeah. And that picture you have on screen, that is the most recent photo of her with her hair shorter, but like I said, she does, wear wigs of different colors, different lengths. I mean, I've got some pictures on there with blonde wigs, black wigs. The one picture I wasn't able to fit on was one where she's wearing an orange hair colored wig. And so she does wear different color wigs. It's starting to remind me of my daughter. She's starting getting into this wig phase now all of a sudden herself.
Right. Man, I might wear a wig.
I don't know
Let's
what
talk about they're popular, I guess, man. Let's talk about Linda Kleinbauer.
Okay. This is one we've covered frequently since June of last year. She's missing from Table Rock, Nebraska since June 16th of 2021. She was 55 when she went missing. She's now 56. She's 5 foot tall, 130 pounds, has brown hair, possibly dyed blonde, or she could be wearing I believe it's a purple or white wig, White and purple wig, yeah. And blue eyes. Linda sometimes walks with a cane and has a medical condition that makes it difficult for her to walk long distances. She was last believed to be on foot and is missing under suspicious circumstances. She does have ties to Hiawatha, Kansas. She was believed to be wearing a white tank top, jean shorts, and brown sandal boots. As part of the investigation, Nebraska State Police have recovered those clothes and has learned that Diller was last seen wearing a different outfit. Investigators now believe she's wearing a black t-shirt, black DKNY boxer brief shorts, and brown Birkenstock type sandals. She has multiple tattoos, including Heaven's Door under her chin, 2 dark wings with a caricature of a person on her chest, 2 Derringer pistols on her abdomen, wings with the initials DCD on her lower back, either December 8th, 2008 or December 15th, 2008 on the back of her neck, the word Lakita on one of her arms and a flower on one of her wrists. If you have any information regarding Linda's disappearance or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Richardson County, Nebraska Sheriff's Office at 402-245-2479 or the Pawnee County, Nebraska Sheriff's Office at 402-852-2969 or by calling Nebraska Crime Stoppers at 1-800-422-1494 or go to the Nebraska Crime Stoppers website or the P3 Tips mobile app, and you can submit your tips that way as well and see if we can help get Linda located.
Yeah, I remember covering her case last year.
Oh, excuse me. I was trying to mute my mic, but I couldn't quite make it in time.
You and me both. Like about 22 seconds ago, I did that because I was sneezing too. I hope we're not getting colds, but I went to mute myself, and I think the audience heard it. It's like I didn't quite get there before the quick inhale, but lots of sneezing going on backstage. Brandon's awake-ish back there.
Yeah.
It's late. It's late where Brandon's at. He's
Oh
on the
yeah.
East Coast. Let's talk about this Lori Heimer case, which, by the way, somebody, I get a lot of people that call me and tell me about cases that involve their family members. And I was going through some old calls the other day, and somebody told me about Lori Heimer, but they had all the details jacked up. Like, it's like you do, like they didn't have a flyer in front of them. They just remembered hearing rumors and stuff. But anyway,
Right.
yeah, this will be. I remember Lori Heimer because this person brought it up in the call. But go ahead and tell us about this case.
Yes, I will do that. That was the one flyer I forgot to pull up, so I'm tracking it down. If you give me just a minute here.
Oh, you're good. And the flyer that Ricky has, and I actually have all three pictures. It is 2 pictures of Lori, and then there's actually a crime scene photo, and you can see the full flyer there on the Kansas Missing and Unsolved Facebook page.
It's just the outside shot of the house is all it is, but yeah. And I actually had an occasion, I can't remember what year it was, it's been several years ago, went out to what's called a pumpkin patch out in this area, and we were on a bus. It was like a church bus type thing, and happened to drive by that house on the way out there, and it was really kind of a surreal feeling going by there. It was really interesting. I mean, knowing what happened there, and it just kind of felt ominous a little bit, knowing what happened there.
No, you're not kidding. That flyer I had you make about 3 months ago about that Phoenix couple that got murdered in their house.
Yeah,
that's like 5 blocks from my house, and me and Stephanie walk by it sometimes. And you're right, man. Like, you just feel like a dreadful sense of evil. Like when you go past someplace like that. But anyway, let's talk about Lori, man.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, she was brutally murdered in her rural area, Kansas home on June 25th, 2016. She ran her business, Lori's Poodle Patch, from her home. Lori was a licensed breeder of miniature-sized poodles. Lori's Poodle Patch was licensed through the state of Kansas. KBI was contacted to assist Saline County Sheriff's Office in the investigation, and they responded with agents and their crime scene response team. During the investigations, 2 vehicles of interest have been developed. Investigators are asking for public's assistance in locating the vehicles. There are an older flatbed pickup, possibly a Chevy, with which is beat up, maroon in color, white front bumper, silver grille, wide style side mirrors, with a driver that is 50 years of age or older, with salt and pepper hair. An older style small pickup truck, possibly a Chevy S10 two-tone, dark blue on top and bottom with light blue in the middle. The back bumper is silver, but the tailgate is blue like the body of the truck. Is newer or appeared to have minimal damage when compared to the body of the truck. Remainder of the vehicle is described as beat up and scratched up. There may be 2 animal cages or crates in the back. The driver of the vehicle was described as a white male, approximately 40 years of age, with shoulder-length hair, wearing glasses. Investigators are also seeking any other information the public could offer about the victim. Specifically, investigators are seeking anyone that came into contact with Lori Heimer on Friday, June 24th and Saturday, June 25th. Anyone who had an appointment with Lori Heimer is in reference to her dog business during the month of June 2016. To share information in reference to this incident, please contact the KBI 24 hours a day at their 1-800-KS-CRIME number, or the Saline County Sheriff's Office at 785-826-6500 during business hours. There's now a $37,500 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the person or persons responsible for Lori's murder. So hopefully somebody that knows something will, submit some information to get this investigation going. As last I heard, there was nothing new coming out at all. Everything has been very, very, very quiet. So we need to get some information generated again.
Yeah. When I got told about this case on the phone, it was just like the brutality, just really, really brutal situation.
That's what I hear. Very brutal, and just no idea who could have done it or why they did it. I mean, to my understanding, there wasn't any indications of any of her poodles missing or anything like that. So, don't know.
Wow. Well, tell us about Ashland.
Yeah, this is one that I did today, actually. She is missing from Gladstone, Missouri since September 10th. She's 34 years old. She's 5'1", 150 pounds, brown or red hair, brownish red hair, and brown eyes. She does have tattoos on her chest, her left hand, her left wrist, her neck, her right arm, her right hand, and right forearm. Ashland also has her left eyebrow pierced. She was last known to be wearing a teal halter top, black jogger pants, and teal shoes. If you have any information regarding Ashland's disappearance or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Gladstone, Missouri Police Department at 816-436-3550 or Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178 or their toll-free number 866-362-6422 and see if we can help get Ashland located and back to where she needs to be.
Brand new case. Yeah, that's just 3 days ago.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, hopefully we can get, and then you're sharing that on your Missouri page, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So that's hopefully it gets the right people, end of the day. Hopefully and really that's all it takes, just get in front of the right person, just one person that's like, hey, I know something about that. Let me call these numbers I see on the flyer.
Definitely.
Let's talk about Brayden.
Okay. Well, I was saying my daughter's 15 at work. Every time she goes out somewhere, I understand that completely. I really do. Yeah, okay. Brayden Hall is missing from Wichita, Kansas, January 3rd of 2022. She was 16 when she went missing. She'd now be 17. I need to update that. She's 5'7" to 5'9". She weighs between 225 and 245 pounds. She has blonde hair and brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Brayden's disappearance or you know her whereabouts, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-660-9452 or 316-263-6011 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Brayden located and back to where she needs to be.
Yeah, that's January, man.
Yeah, I know. It's been quite a while.
Well, we always cover these 3 cases each week, and it's a treat to do it, but I wish we didn't have to. I wish we could get some resolution on these 3, but we'll go ahead and go through these. Let's go ahead and talk about Alexander Perez.
All right. Let's see here. Missing from Ulysses, Kansas since December 1st of 2020, coming up on 2 years here pretty soon. Was 35 when he went missing. He's now 36. He's 5'11", weighs 235 pounds, has black hair that he shaves nearly bald, and brown eyes. He'd called a family member via telephone on December 1st, said he'd be coming over to do laundry. Never arrived at the family member's home in Ulysses. Alexander has not been heard from or seen by families or friends since then. He had been staying with family and friends prior to his disappearance. It's believed that Alexander may still be in local Ulysses area, or he may be in the Garden City or surrounding areas. Again, he was 35 when he went missing. He's now 36. He's 5'11", weighs 235 pounds, has black hair that he shaves nearly bald and brown eyes, has a tattoo of a bumblebee on his face underneath his left eye, has Perez tattooed on one of his arms, and he has a tattoo of a cross on a chain across his chest. If you have any information regarding Alexander's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call the Grant County, Kansas Sheriff's Office, 620-356-3500, or the Ulysses, Kansas Police Department at 620-356-4600, or KBI at 785-296-4017. See if we can't get Alex located and back to his family, because I know they are desperately looking for him and want to get him found.
And then this is a voicemail that was sent to a source of ours who was a relative of Alexander.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I'm supposed to be going back early morning to go get some shit and then go get some other stuff down there and bring it back down here, but I don't even know, man. It's been wild down there. It's been crazy. Fucking been held at gunpoint and robbed and tried to beat me up. It's a bunch of crazy shit going on in GC, man.
It just doesn't sound good. Every time I hear that, it's just like,
yeah.
Does that have anything to do with the disappearance, or just, coincidental circumstances, or I don't know. Got Alexis Marie Turner here saying, dang it, I'm late to the show. Sorry you made it late, Alexis. There's always the replay. But glad you're here anyway. And Lori Hayes, she's late. It's okay. Better here than missed all of it. I mean, you can always watch the replay too, but we're glad you made it.
There's also the audio podcast that you can listen to. We have a lot of people that listen to it that way.
Yeah.
Let's talk Dana Jane Bruce.
Alrighty. Of course, she's missing from Sedalia, Missouri since October 4th of 2008. She was 23 when she went missing. She's now 37, 5'2", 98 pounds, brown hair and green or hazel eyes. She went to Sedalia went missing from Sedalia on October 4th, obviously. She was last seen at her children's baby center home in Sedalia. She left the children there earlier that day so she could go out for the evening. She returned at midnight and gave the babysitter more money and asked her to watch the children for the rest of the night. She was seen at Malone's Bar on Main Street with a young man driving a late model red Ford F-150 truck earlier on the night of her disappearance. She left with the man at 11:30 p.m. Police have identified the man that she was with that night. He traveled to Atlanta, Georgia after her disappearance. Police questioned him about Bruce after he was arrested there on unrelated charges of marijuana possession and driving on a suspended license. Authorities haven't named him publicly, but they are calling him a person of interest in her case. Told his questioners that he and Dana parted ways after they left the bar, and he never saw her after that. She left all of her personal belongings behind, including her hairbrush and toothbrush. She doesn't have credit cards, debit cards, a checking account, a cell phone, or a car. Again, she was 23 when she went missing. She would now be 37. She's 5'2" and weighs 98 pounds. She has brown hair that was colored brown at the roots, black at the ends with red highlights, and green or hazel eyes. She was last known to be wearing a black shirt with the word Rebel in silver lettering on the front and blue jeans. Dana has a tattoo of a teddy bear with wings and the name Dylan on her upper left arm. She's blind in her left eye, and she has a 2-inch scar along her lower spine and a staple scar on her right shoulder, and her ears are pierced one time each. If you have any information regarding Dana's disappearance, you know her whereabouts, please call the Sedalia, Missouri Police Department at 660-827-7823 or 660-826-8100, or the Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178, or their toll-free number 866-362-6422, and see if we can't get Dana located and back to where she needs to be again. Another one where we know a family is desperately seeking to find her and seeking answers on what happened to her that night. So let's see if we can't help them get those answers.
Yeah, and her kid, like we talked about that a few weeks ago. He's old now, a lot older.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember what Ellen said the ages are on her kids now. So,
but at a very formative age where you don't need a mystery like this looming over you when you're trying to just be a person,
Yeah.
It's just terrible.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Kenny Rightcheck.
Yeah. And this one's near to me because I didn't know him know him well, but I always visited with him when I saw him around town and stuff, playing pinball and video games and stuff at the gas stations. But yeah, Kenny went missing from here in Salina, Kansas on November 4th, 2019. 69 when he went missing. He'd now be 72. He's 5'9", 175 pounds, gray hair and blue eyes. He does sometimes use the last name Brown as opposed to his given name of Rightcheck. Does suffer from diminished mental health capabilities, and he's on disability. He has not tried to access any of his money since he was last seen. He may have family in northwest Kansas, possibly around the Colby area. He was last seen at the Gospel Mission in Salina. He left there and hasn't been seen or heard from since. He does not have a cell phone, a vehicle, or any identification. His main mode of transportation was bicycle that he rode and pushed around town, picking up scrap metal to sell at the scrapyard. Since he wasn't really able, my understanding was he had 2 payees and they weren't real good about giving him pocket money once in a while. So he would pick up scrap and sell it up here at All Metal Recycling that used to be Salina Iron and Metal. But again, at the time of his disappearance, he was 69. He's now 72. He's 5'9", weighs 175 pounds, has gray hair and blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Kenny's disappearance or his whereabouts, please call Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Kenny located and make sure he's okay and hopefully living his best life. It's been almost 3 years now, and like I've talked about before, we've gone through some pretty blistering hot summers and some very, very cold winters, very dangerous below freezing temperatures. And, hopefully he's doing okay and living his best life. But, it's hard to say. It's hard to keep that hope, but hopefully he is.
And I just want to know if the checks are getting cashed.
Yeah, that's something I've never heard. Nobody's ever mentioned it or brought that up, or I don't even know if police have even looked into it. I've never heard. Like I said, that's another case that everything's just pretty much dried up.
Poor Kenny, man.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much, like I say, everything's dried up. Not a word's coming out. Not even on the anniversary of when he's gone missing. I haven't even seen any kind of media coverage. I haven't even seen anything on like the Salina Police Department's Facebook saying, hey, we're still looking for information on the disappearance of Kenny Rightcheck or anything like that. I mean, it's just nothing. I'm hoping this new police chief, when we get a new police chief, that he'll be, really gung-ho about the missing and about the unsolved homicides in this town and, want to get some stuff going on. I mean, our chief just resigned. We have an interim chief, and they're working on appointing a new chief. So, see what happens.
I want to give a shout out to Muddy Waters. Is it Muddy Waters Search and Recovery?
Yeah.
I think Dennis. He has COVID.
Oh, again?
I think so. Unless I just got like an old Facebook. I thought I saw on Facebook like in the last day or two that he maybe it wasn't COVID, but he was sick. So I just hope he's feeling better. And
wow, I'll have to check that out.
It looked like he had to postpone something he was doing, so I hope he's feeling better. But wasn't he talking about potentially maybe going and looking for Kenny down there in Salina?
Yeah, he was talking about that back in April, okay. And he was supposed to try to make it over here in July and whatnot, and hasn't materialized. Hopefully he'll be able to get over here at some point. I know in watching his latest videos and stuff, he's really been focusing on Tennessee cases for whatever reason. So I don't know.
Wherever he's called.
Yeah, you're right. On September 11th, he posted 2 days ago that he tested positive for COVID. Again, this is like his third time with COVID.
I think he said this was the worst he's had it yet, if I remember right.
Said fever isn't going nearly as high now, which is huge. At one point, it was running 103.8. He's still weak and sore, but hopefully he'll be on the road and get past it. This is my fifth go around with it. Oh, my gosh. Just very thankful it isn't any worse. Again, I apologize about tonight. We'll be back again soon, Dennis. So that would have been his Sunday night live feed, as they always do a live feed on Sunday night.
Wow. Well, speedy recovery.
Yeah, Dennis, get well soon, man.
That's
his fifth go around. That's crazy.
That is bonkers, man. That is. Norm from my other show, he's had it twice, but
fortunately, I've just had it the one time back in January, February, and
right.
Yeah, here's praying. That's the only time I tangle with it. I still wear my mask at work or when I go to the store or whatever.
Right.
And it's not because I'm afraid of COVID, because obviously I've had it, but it's just I don't want to tangle with it anymore if I can possibly help it.
If I can avoid getting it, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of prayer, man, why don't you go ahead and get us out of here? Great show tonight, by the way, Ricky. I feel like we covered quite a few cases, and we do have some cases. Rachel Pratt we're going to cover next week, and some other people shouted some out in the chat. So those are all good suggestions.
Backtrack and see which other cases. I only saw the Rachel one, so I'll have to check and see which other ones there were. But
I think as you covered, it was when you were covering maybe Tammy or Tracy. There was another lady named and that was missing, and you said that you were going to make.
I'll go back and grab that and work on hers.
I don't remember the name, but yeah, you had said that you were going to.
Yeah, I've also got a flyer request in my email, and I've also got one in the Missouri missing box I got to go look at. So I've got some to work on after I get off here tonight too. So. Yep, always something to be made, which is fine. That's what I'm here for. So that's what I keep doing. But yeah, Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together tonight to go over these cases. And these unsolved homicides, and hopefully we can get some of these people found and get some of these cases solved with your guidance and your leadership. And until we see each other again next Thursday, and everybody stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, and amen.
If you or someone you know is experiencing a suicidal crisis or emotional distress, please call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255.